How you doing, Neal?
Doing good.
Really excited about today's episode. Not only is it St. Patrick's Day.
What else you got?
Well, we're both huge U of L fans, and I think everybody's going to be really excited about our guest.
Well, is it Mr. Basketball by any chance?
He definitely goes by a lot. Peyton Siva is going to be joining us, and looking forward to hearing what he has to say, what's going on with him.
All right, let's check it out.
Recorded live from Louisville, it's Talk About Town, the Louisville podcast. And now, your hosts, Neal and Tad Hennessy.
Hey, Ron White here. I'm nowhere to be found. You're listening to Talk About Town, like I give a...
Peyton, thanks for being here, my friend. Really nice to meet you, and setting aside a couple minutes, and just want to, get you on the podcast and let everybody know what's going on with you and your family these days.
Thank you guys for having me on. I really appreciate you guys reaching out and letting me be a part of this. But for me, just for people, just kind of update them. I just recently moved back to Louisville. I've been playing in Europe and Australia these past couple of years. Married. Have 2 kids, 8 and 6, 2 girls, so I'm a girl dad. And, just enjoying being back in Louisville and getting back in the community and around the team. Finally get to watch a little bit of March Madness and some live basketball, so it's been fun.
Well, I know Neal and I have talked a lot. For whatever the season was this past season, I was there for the 2013 celebration, which I thought was first class. I hope, as a fan, and I know how much that team meant to us, I would love to think as you as a player and the rest of your brothers and teammates, I'm just really glad that Josh, the university, put it on. And what a night that was, too. I mean, the place was packed. It really felt like yesterday, if you want to say.
Yeah, that was great, for Josh Hurd to invite all of us back and have the celebration and have our team recognized, in the midst of everything that's gone on with the NCAA and everything. So to be recognized was an amazing feeling. To have, me being back in Louisville, the fans showed me a lot of love, and I wanted that to go to my teammates, my brothers who don't live here, and for them to see that they're still loved in Louisville. Like I said, I see it every day. The fans come up to me still. People still show me a lot of love, and I really appreciate it. But I want them to see that they're still loved also. They have accomplished something that a lot of people haven't. And, the city, the fans, everybody still loves them. And it was great, man. And we got the win. So that was even better.
They played very inspired that night. There is no doubt about it. I hope, too, that even with the, not to go over individuals, but there were a few people that weren't for teammates, few teammates that weren't there. I hope as a fan that they know how beloved they are, every single one of them. And I hope there's a day soon that they also get their moment in the sun too.
Definitely. We were missing, Kevin Ware, who I forgot to talk about at the speech, and I told him sorry. Shane and Gorgie and Russ, Mango, a couple guys who weren't able to come back. Russ knows. Russ is always here.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody in Louisville knows. But, for the other guys to just know that they're loved, I think it was very important, for them to see. I mean, I hope they saw in the celebration videos, but they're still loved around Louisville and, everybody.
Yeah. Well, almost everybody on that team and every year is from somewhere else. So I always wonder if you guys get how big of a deal it is around here. And you must by now. It's you think about the Super Bowl and the Chiefs and how much Kansas City is proud of them. You all are that for us. I think the whole school, it's kind of a foundation of what we get into. I mean, one of my favorite things to do is U of L soccer. It's like their new stadium, and it's a beautiful time of year. It's free right now too. It's gorgeous. It's high level. They're good at it. It's fun. I mean, there was a year there where we were ranked top 5 in everything, and the whole city just it's so good for us.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the main reasons why I decided to leave from all the way in Seattle to come out to Louisville, just because of the fan base. It was really unique in the sense that, this is a college, city, state.
Yeah.
And they show you a lot of love. Wherever you went, wherever I went, as a recruit, as a player, they showed a lot of love, and it resonated with me, and I really appreciated it all. And they make you feel like rock stars walking around the town, and I really appreciated it. So that's a big thing, and I think a lot of recruits are seeing, like, even though there's been some bad years, but there was a point where Louisville was on top of the world at one.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Championship. Football team won the Sugar Bowl. Women's basketball team went to national championship after they beat number 1 Baylor. Baseball team went to Omaha.
They did.
Soccer team was really good. Swimming, they always been good. Just top to bottom in all the sports, lacrosse, field hockey, everything. They were all really good that year, and hopefully we can get back to that one day.
As just a fan in general, I have to think. Can I ask? I know you got the TBT tournament coming up this summer. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But have you retired, or are you? Is there still opportunity to play overseas, or?
There's still some opportunities to play over in Europe and Australia, and I've had a couple offers. But right now, for me, it's more about my family.
Yeah.
I spent the last 10 years living out my dream, essentially.
That's right.
Playing in the NBA, playing over in Europe, playing in Australia. And it's been a little hard on my family just because all the traveling and all the back and forth, never being really settled. So it was a good chance for me to kind of just take a step back and really focus on my family and give them something, to just have a life, essentially.
Yeah.
They sacrificed for me, so I think it's time for me to sacrifice for them. So I haven't really completely hung it up, but I'm working on transitioning into the next phase of my life.
Well deserved. Your year with the Pistons, I'm sure that was just like a little boy living out your dream. Congrats, and
thank you.
I don't think people. I don't know if it's funny. Growing up, and also even now, I know where all of our player, where all the little guys are play, whether they play a year, 5 years, whatever it is. The alums are followed very tightly on where they're at, and you get everybody's like, "Hey, I'm a Pistons fan this year. Or I'm going to cheer for the Clippers or whatever somebody might be." But if your overseas days, what was maybe your favorite spot?
I would say so. I spent 5 years in Berlin, which was a really beautiful city.
Wow.
It gets really cold in the winter, but the people are really nice. I would say my favorite spot, just because there's recency bias, but I was in New Zealand. For a little while before COVID hit over there, and they sent us to Melbourne, which was still a nice city. But New Zealand was just a beautiful place.
Yeah.
We lived right near the water. The people, I got to experience a little bit of my culture. I'm Samoan, and they have a big Polynesian group out there, and everybody out there just showed a lot of love. And then I would say Australia has been probably my favorite spot, just because of the language barriers that's not there.
Yeah.
You're able to kind of, live an easier life. And it's 4 month season. So it's just shorter, and it's summertime out there.
Okay.
While it's winter here.
Yeah.
So it was good. I really enjoyed it over there.
Competition. I've always wondered that. I mean, is it, not to say like, okay, you progressed high school to obviously, top flight, major Division I, NBA. Then once you go over to the European leagues or whatever for like Australian leagues, et cetera, I mean, is it top flight? Do you stand out? I've always wondered, like, how's the competition over there?
The competition just varies of where you're at. So I would say, obviously, you have the NBA, which is the best league in the world. I would say then you go to EuroLeague, which I got a chance to play for a couple of years. And that's a separate competition from your domestic league. So, like, you have, EuroLeague, then you had your domestic league, which we were in the Bundesliga, the BBL in Germany. In Australia, they have a really good league, but I would say for them, it's more so they don't get the same amount of imports. So they have good local players, but they don't have the same amount of imports that they can pull from all over the world, essentially. Just like how in Europe you can have like 6 imports, whereas in Australia you have 3. So there's a difference in that.
Gotcha.
But the style of play is a lot different. It's fun. It's up and down. It's more NBA style in Australia as far as the style of play, whereas Europe is more tactical.
Got it.
It's if I can compare it to anything, it's more of a college style basketball, but higher level of players.
That makes sense. Yeah, probably like equals. I mean, yeah, I get that.
Better defense, more movement, that kind of thing.
Like guys are a lot bigger. Guys are more athletic. Guys are more skilled in EuroLeague, and you have guys who are really good in NBA, or guys who were on NBA teams go to these EuroLeague teams, who can still go to the NBA but chose to stay over there. And you have the top European players playing. So, and as you see in the world of basketball, Europe is catching up to America as far as the skill base, the fundamentals of basketball. They really focus on that, and you can kind of see it with the guys who's really, dominating in the NBA. You have your Luka Doncic, you have your Jokic, you have Giannis, you have everybody, a lot of the top guys. So it's fun to see. It's fun to play and compete against, and just to kind of see the different styles of basketball has really been cool for me.
They can watch out, though, because we're catching up to them in soccer.
That's right. I hope so.
Sure.
Yeah.
When he went over to Greece, was that the EuroLeague? Is that what he coached in?
Yeah, he coached at Panathinaikos in EuroLeague.
Okay, that's right. Yeah. Hey, just talking about Coach Patino, you still in touch with him, or is he still a mentor of sorts? And
I still talk to him. So actually, I went out to the team he was. Funny story. So we were getting ready to play against Panathinaikos when I was in Berlin, and then the first wave of COVID hit, and they shut down everything literally a week before we were getting ready to play them. So I was looking forward to seeing him and playing against him as a opponent instead of as his, his own player. But we kept in contact throughout the years. He's always been a mentor to me. Whenever I need anything, he's always there to help me. And recently, I've just been able to kind of watch their Iona team. I watched them for the first time the other day in their tournament, and man, they're a really good team.
They are
well coached, but it's just funny to see his passion for the game after all these years. To see how he still fires up on the sidelines, still gets into the players and gets the best out of them. I mean, if anybody would have thought like, oh, Iona, they're an NCAA tournament team, like. He changed that narrative, and people fear playing Iona, fear playing against them. He had a couple guys on the first team, all was it MAAC, and the player of the year on his team, 2 guards who are really scrappy guards. So it's been cool to see. I've been texting him, just congratulating him and wishing him luck. Hopefully they get a win today.
You got them in your Final Four?
Oh wait, I probably got them winning. I didn't really fill out a bracket, but when I saw it, I'm when it comes to those things, I'm like a homer.
Me too.
Like,
yeah. Too.
If anybody that I played with or coached me, then I picked them to win it. I don't really kind of go off of.
That's good. Nobody's ever close anyway, right?
Yeah. I was going to say, I think the only 2 years that I actually picked the national champion was 2013.
Nice.
Yeah, nice. And Virginia lost yesterday.
Yes, they did.
So there we go.
I saw that only 12% of brackets are still perfect after Virginia and Arizona went out yesterday. Yep. It's wild.
It's crazy. It's crazy. Well, in regards to coach, I mean, not that this means anything, but again, as a fan, I know some media. He FaceTime you guys or got on, which is that just means I think a lot to so many people as well. And I know that I pray for one day. Hopefully he'll.
I wish he was still our coach, honestly.
Well, so I think
nothing against our coach or the coaches we've had, but he was here for so long, had such success. It was just the right fit at the right time, and I miss that. That's.
Well, hopefully there'll be a day here soon that he'll be able to. I think he knows people love him.
Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah, I think so. I think it was just a tough breakup, and obviously there are a lot of people in Louisville that still love him, and he knows that. And he knows that the players still love him. So I'm just glad that he's happy. He's found his, he's still passionate about coaching basketball, and he's gotten the chance to do something that he loves, and it wasn't completely taken away from him. So,
I think it was just yesterday he made the comment that he's going to, and I don't doubt it. Health, if health is there, coach till you're 80. So if it's with Iona or if some of the other teams he's being mentioned around there, I don't doubt that he'll be primed and ready for a run.
Yeah, I don't think he's not the type of person that you can just go home and sit down.
I can't read
a book. He has to stay active and he has to get going, and his passion is basketball. His passion is basketball, his family, and and that's and God. And so
yeah.
Peyton, speaking of coaching, is that something you've ever considered, or is it?
I would never want to be a head coach.
Yeah.
I can be like a assistant or a player development guy. Just kind of helping out, and that's always kind of been my passion, is just the mentor aspect of helping kids out and help leading them and instilling some of the knowledge that I've accumulated over the years to give back to them. And so that's always just kind of been my passion since I was young, helping out the next generation. So maybe in the future, if it kind of the opportunity presents itself, but it's not something that I'm actively pursuing.
There's probably a lot of high school jobs that would talk to you around here.
I would think so.
Yeah, I've got a couple offers. This last summer.
You may not know this. David Levitch and David Padgett are both North Oldham's coaches.
I think I knew that and forgot. Actually, that's cool.
Yeah. So I've actually, like I said, I've finally been back, and I've actually got the chance to kind of watch some high school hoops in Louisville and go support some people. And then I told David, I wasn't planning on leaving to Australia. I had planned on staying in Louisville this whole time, but then I left. But I told him before I left I would come to one of their games, and the one game I went to, they probably had the worst game of the season, so I don't think I'll be invited back to those.
I think I saw you tweet. Were you at a Mail game recently?
I was, yeah.
My son is a senior at Mail.
Okay.
He doesn't play basketball. He runs track, but I thought that was cool. And every single year, they have been the runners-up in football. Every all 4 years of his high school career.
Oh man,
yeah,
it's
they got a good basketball team. Matter of fact, they might be playing today.
They do. They play today. I want to say they play actually a really good team. I don't know if it's like Georgia Clark or something like that, but they played in the tournament today. I think around like 1:30. I've talked to a couple of their players. I would say that out of the teams I've watched, which is not a lot, but they've probably been one of my favorite teams to watch just because of the style of play they have. They have, two really good brothers there. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, the Edelman brothers. And then they have Michi. They have a really good team there that I enjoy watching. They get up and down. They just let it fly from three. I think they broke the state record for most three-pointers made last game.
Yeah, that's awesome.
90-something points.
Unfortunately, they beat my Rocks in the regional finals, but
you'll have that.
Coach Zablo does a good job over there too.
Yeah.
But no, so tell us a little bit about what you got. I know that you got an opportunity to kind of promote what you got going on. I know you got a camp coming up, and to start off with that, that's going to be a spring break camp, right?
I'm doing a spring break camp. It's going to be April 3rd to the 7th at Braxland Gym over in Norton Commons.
Oh, yeah.
And it's for ages 8 through 13. Times are 9 to 2 o'clock. So we just kind of wanted to do an all-day camp, especially for kids during the spring break. For the kids that are here, as I've heard, a lot of kids like to leave for spring break.
Yeah.
But we want to kind of do something. I kind of want to just get back out there, get back in the community, kind of, stay active and just kind of help out where I can. So we decided to do a camp over there, and we have some special guests. Ryan Mann, who's a great player, who's a great shooter, and he's going to come in and talk about some shooting techniques that he's had since he was little, and instill some of the knowledge on the youth about his life and what he's been through and how he got to where he is. And then I'm gonna try to get some coaches up there to kind of speak, and some former players. So it should be a fun time. Like I said, we got some good things happening. Chick-fil-A is going to sponsor some days for lunch. So
do you still have openings for kids to sign up?
I do. We still have opening for kids to sign up. If you want to register, it's at PeytonSivaTraining.com. That's PeytonSiva training.com. If you want to go there and register your kid, registrations are still open. We would love to have whoever wants to come. Like I said, it's ages 8 through 13, and it's not just for boys; it's for girls also. Yeah. I'm a girl dad, so I want to encourage. I want to encourage all the female basketball players that come out to the camp also, and just kind of have fun. Just kind of learn the basics of basketball. Get out there and dribble the ball, and learn a few things from me, from the other players and the coaches that we're going to have there. So I think it'll be a really good time.
I hope you have time. I was telling you before we started, I have an 8-year-old, but we're going to be in Florida. I hope you have one over the summer too, hopefully when school gets out.
Yeah, we're going to, try to get some more camps, and I'm doing a couple more clinics just with some other people I'm partnering with. Like I said, I just kind of want to get back out there. I recently just moved back to Louisville. I've been gone for the last 10 years. We lived in Florida for a short period of time.
What part of Florida?
I was in Ponte Vedra near Jacksonville.
Yeah.
Okay.
We had just moved down there kind of during COVID. We were living down there, and it was kind of it was funny. So the reason why I kind of came back up to move back was when Kenny Payne got hired. My wife's from here. She's from Louisville, and we would go down. I would go down to campus whenever, I'll try to work out. And when I went down there one day, I ran into Kenny Payne, and I kind of congratulated him when he first got hired. And I ran into him on my way out, and he was like, "Hey, come back whenever. The door is open to you." And he just kind of made me feel really welcome. And it was like, please just come back and be around the guys, help out where you can. We want the support of the alumni.
Love it.
And that's kind of why I back him so much. And I told my wife, I was like, maybe it's time, to move back to Louisville and just kind of get back around the community. And, like I said earlier, they've suffered a lot. I suffered, but they put up with a lot.
Sure, it's a hard life.
The past 10 years. And
Did they stay posted up here while you were gone? Wow.
Yeah, they would stay here for a couple months, come visit me for a couple months.
Yeah.
Back.
My wife was out of town for 6 weeks once, and that was enough for me. So I can't imagine what just having you gone for a season is. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's why my daughters don't really like basketball too much, because they equate basketball with daddy leaving. So.
Well, you said your oldest is 8?
Yeah, my oldest is 8.
Is she into anything just yet?
We're getting her into soccer, actually. We're going to try to get them into soccer, see how they like it. They do gymnastics at gym time, and they do tumbling, and she loves it. I mean, it's something to keep them active. My wife homeschools, so they don't really get a lot of social interactions, especially being in Europe. They're just at home. It's not the language barrier. They don't know the other language. So
I tell you what, this is a good city for especially soccer period, but women's soccer. I mean, my daughter plays for the city program, the racing program, excuse me. And
my youngest plays for the Oldham branch of Lou City Academy too.
Oh, nice,
awesome.
Yeah. I actually went to a soccer game this year for it's FC, the men's team.
Louisville City.
Louisville City, yeah. And it was nice, man. The stadium's really nice.
Isn't it nice?
Like the playground outside and everything. And it was really cool.
The location, it kind of fits in a spot that wasn't really doing much.
Right, yeah.
I like it.
No, it's cool.
That's great. Can you tell us a little bit about the TBT? I'm excited.
Yeah, so it's funny. They've been trying to get the TBT for a couple of years, and for myself, I was kind of shy about, I wouldn't say shy, but hesitant about doing it, just because it is a very high risk, low reward, situation, as far as, it's winner takes all.
Correct.
And it's, you're playing in a tournament style. You're playing, I want to say it's around 64 teams or something like that. It's a lot of teams, but you're playing winner takes all essentially, and it's during the summer. But this summer, like I said, it's been tough for them to get a team, because they've been kind of wanting to get, I guess, key names to join the team.
Yeah.
To just kind of represent Louisville. And obviously, you can't play if you're in the NBA. And the guys who are still playing at a high level in Europe and other places are kind of hesitant, in the sense that contracts aren't guaranteed.
Absolutely.
In Europe.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You're on 1-year contract, so if something happens in the summer, they kind of like.
I mean, I don't blame them.
Yeah.
Not at all.
So what I told you guys, kind of me on the back end of my career, kind of wanted to kind of transition. I was like, you know what, I think it'd be cool. And Kyle Kirk, another former player, he had decided that he wanted to do it also.
That's
awesome.
Cool. Yeah.
And then we had Coach Mark Lieberman, who's the coach at. He used to coach, assistant coach at Louisville. He's an amazing coach. He's going to be the head coach. We had Luke Hancock reach out to me, and he's going to be an assistant coach. He's not going to play because he's too old right now, as he says. But, we have a couple former players who already have committed, a couple other Louisville guys who's played in the area that has committed to play, and we're waiting to hear back from, some other key guys that can really help us not only – be competitive, but also try to win it.
Absolutely, of course.
Whenever you play in something like that, you want to win. But for me, it was the main thing was playing in Louisville. I think. For them to say, okay, if you play, we'll have a location in Louisville. because as a pro, there's not a lot of opportunities to play back in front of the fans.
Right.
You know, in a city that I live in now, and a city that loves a lot of us, all of us, so much, it's a great opportunity to get back out there and play in front of them. And you know, I know the fan base has been through a lot, so I think it'll be kind of the nostalgia feeling to come out there and watch a couple of us play and just enjoy some basketball. You know, win, lose, or whatever. It'll be cool to kind of see some of the former players that they cheered for so much just to get back out there.
Have you, if I'm not mistaken, I read Freedom Hall is going to be the location, correct?
Yeah, so they're going to have it at Freedom Hall.
It's awesome.
It's in July. I want to say around the 18th. We'll start practicing around like July 4th or something like that. And also too, they plan on having some events for the fans to just kind of meet the former players, just kind of some meet and greets and things of that nature. We're going to practice, you know, down hopefully I think at the Huber Center. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to connecting with some of the old guys.
Yeah.
And, you know, I played against Kyle a couple times and while he was at Barcelona and in Europe, and you know, some of the guys who had already committed right now are Stephen Enoch, Rakeem Buckles, you know, Dylan Avars, who's a former Louisville player, and you know, we have some other guys. Kyle Kirk, like I said, we talked about. We're trying to get Russ, you know, trying to get him to jump on board, but he's currently playing professionally in Italy, and he's been hurt the last couple of years, so I think he's, you know, trying to get back and playing in China and things of that nature. But we're hoping that he'll jump on with us, and you know,
not to
other guys.
You just brought up curious. I've had people ask me this. China, maybe not the best relations right now, like you said, politically. Which players safe over there? I mean, like Russ plays over there in theory. I mean, you feel safe. I assume you're protected.
Yeah, so all the players I've talked to who's played over in China, I played in China, but I haven't played in their league. Everyone that's gone over there has said they feel safe. They don't feel some type of way. You know, I guess the population is the fans are very supportive of their.
I know they love basketball.
They do love basketball. They pack it out, and like I said, their imports are, you know, well taken care of, and you know, it's tough, you know, when you go to these foreign countries, but you know, as far as basketball is kind of like the international language. You know, everybody speaks basketball. Yeah. So
I imagine, do you get kind of lonely just being it's like, hey, I've got my teammates and that's about it, you know?
For sure. I mean, you know, for a lot of guys, it's just about trying to make some money.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, you're living out a dream in a sense that, you know, you get to play basketball for money. But a lot of times it does get lonely. You know, you're away from family, you're away from friends. You know, you're gone for, like I said, in Europe, it's 10 months. It's a language barrier. So if you're not the type of social person to kind of get out there and do things, it can get lonely because then you're just in your house all the time. Like with basketball, you have a lot of downtime, but you don't have a lot of free time.
Right.
You know, because you practice for 2-3 hours a day. Some teams practice twice, and then you're off the rest of the day. But it's not like you can go take vacations. It's not like you have like a break. It's, you know, you're practicing every day, or you have a game, or you're traveling. It's not, you know, it's not like a regular job, where you can have that, like, oh, you have these 2 days off, or you have this, you know,
and you're eating right, so you don't like, oh, we're gonna go to this awesome restaurant all the time, you know, that kind of stuff too.
So it is tough, man. You really have to kind of form a bond with your teammates and the people who are there. You kind of have to try to, you know, get into the culture, immerse yourself in the culture of, you know, wherever you're at, and just try to enjoy it. That's that'll be a big advice for me, for any players who go out there, is try to just, like, you know, see what the culture is like, experience it, you know, try to understand it. Don't try to be standoffish, and just be open to new things.
You know, basketball, definitely probably more so than, I don't know, like a football player or a baseball, maybe baseball to a degree, but you got to see the world. I mean, you've seen the world.
I have, and it's been cool. Just a kid from Seattle, growing up in the inner city. I never thought I would, you know, travel the world.
It's awesome.
And, you know, I'm thankful because I've gotten a chance to also take my wife with me, to see the world, and take my kids. You know, they've been traveling since they've been born, so they're freaking flyers. You know, they're used to those, you know, 8-hour flights or 16-hour flights to Australia. So I'm very thankful to kind of just, and they'll realize it later in life, but not right now. But the places that they've been, they can kind of say like, "Oh, I lived there, and I've been there."
That's
and
very cool.
It's been very cool.
Well, before we let you go, why don't you get into kind of what your next project is? Because we were chatting about that, and it sounds really cool.
No, so I'm getting ready to venture off into a couple of opening up a basketball training facility. It's called Shoot 360. We're franchising them out. Me and my wife are franchising them out here in Louisville. And what it is it's a basketball training facility that uses like state of the art technology to kind of improve the 3 areas of basketball for everybody, which is shooting, ball handling, and passing. And I think it's a very cool concept, just because you have this the technology that kind of gives you real time feedback on your arc, your depth. If the shot's going left or right, they have this patent technology that if you shoot within this parameter, that your shot goes in 98% of the times. And for kids, it's an awesome tool to use. That if they just want to go to the gym, they can go by themselves. The parents can drop them off, spend an hour up there and work out, and we'll have floor coaches. I'll be there myself, working there full time, and it's just a chance to kind of integrate technology.
Did you say it's going to be out towards Prospect, right?
Yeah, so we're trying to find a location out towards Prospect, and it's like I told you guys earlier, it's just hard finding pre-existing building that meets the requirements, or the land to build from ground up. It takes some time, so hopefully we found a place. Hopefully we'll get open in September.
Yeah, shoot for the fall.
Our aim date, and I'll be promoting it a little bit more out while it gets closer and closer. So I'm looking forward to that. I think the city of Louisville will really enjoy it. I think the basketball community will really enjoy it. And it's where our main target is, kids of all ages, but also too, it's good for adults who want to, come in and get a good workout in.
Cool.
Something other than just running on a treadmill or lifting weights. It's a good cardio. If anybody's played sports, basketball is a good cardio exercise to, do something different. And I think that's a big thing.
That's an angle I didn't even talking to you earlier. That's a whole nother revenue generator from like a workout perspective, just for old athletes, if you want to say.
Oh, yeah.
That's pretty cool.
And the thing about it too, for like just, with it being a franchise and the technology that they have different things that they offer, such as like shooting leagues, where say if one of you guys were here in Louisville and they have a location in California or in Atlanta, that they have these real-time shooting leagues where I can see, hey, let's go meet up at the gym at 5 o'clock. This is what times the shooting league is. You can see how many shots they've made at that time, and you guys can compete against each other in that sense.
That's very cool.
Time. So
yeah.
it's
like high-tech horse kind of, right?
Yeah, pretty much. But I mean, it has some really cool features to it. It has some like, gaming features to it for like kids. Like I played it, and there was one drill where you have to make a certain amount of shots to build a snowman, and every time you made a shot, you build the base. Or if you missed a shot, the base goes away. So it has some things, and it was created. The premise behind it was the owner wanted to create something to get his kids out of the house.
There you go.
Everybody loves video games. Everybody's like playing video games. And he was like, how can I create something that benefits him and gets him better in something, but also will keep his attention like video games.
Love it.
That's why I loved it, and I really fell in love with it and wanted to kind of partner with them and franchise it out. So we're looking forward to that.
Not to speak for this guy, Neal, but I can tell you I probably won't be in the shooting league.
No, I am. Basketball is not my sport.
Yeah, but see, that's why you can come and get a workout in.
That's right.
You can improve on your shooting while you're in there.
Then maybe I will.
Yep.
Peyton, is it just curious? Is it an existing franchise, or is this actually a new venture?
So it's an existing franchise. They have about 15 locations up so far.
You're getting in the ground though. That's good, man.
Yeah, so we're actually the first ones to kind of build it out this way. They're trying to move out towards this area of the country, and we were like, well, we want the state of Kentucky. We were like, we want to do it here, and the state of Kentucky as a whole is a huge basketball state. So we're looking forward to putting that out there.
Not to keep asking a bunch of questions, but just piqued a question I wanted to ask you. Your thoughts. You played in the NBA, grew up loving it. you know how basketball nuts we are. Obviously, #1 college market or whatever it is. Do you think the NBA could work in Louisville, or?
I don't really think so, as in the sense that you have Louisville basketball. Unfortunately, and it hasn't really been
We'll get back.
that great the
We'll
last
get
couple
back.
years. But I think the turning point and the diehard fans of the college will always be king in a sense. Now you might have, some opportunities for NBA teams and fans might want to support the NBA, but I think college is always going to be king.
Yeah.
In Louisville, I think there is a big population to support the NBA team. But I grew up in Seattle when they took away the Sonics, and Seattle's a big city, and the support just wasn't there, and the down of it wasn't that great. But I think if like we talked about earlier, when Louisville was on top, #1 in basketball, #1
Everything.
women's basketball, soccer, tennis, everything. Yeah. The support's there. So the people are there. So
Yeah, people are hungry.
yeah, people are hungry for sports.
Yeah.
So I think I take that back. I think it could work in that sense, but I think it'll be tough competing with the University of Louisville.
Yeah.
I made a comment to my buddy just yesterday. It's rare. Houston is a #1 seed, and definitely one of the favorites. Although they struggled a little last night, but one of the favorites. And obviously they got the Rockets. You got Memphis, Georgetown, and DC. I mean, there's I guess Marquette, and Milwaukee, but I mean, to me, Louisville. That's why when UK is #1 in Lexington, Duke is absolutely #1, and and obviously Carolina. A pro team would be taking a backseat to a degree, I would think.
Yeah, because you have so many diehard Louisville fans, and they're always going to be Louisville fans. And then you start talking about the money of supporting the University of Louisville.
Even just the attention bandwidth. It's like,
Right.
Louisville plays twice this week. Well, then the Cardinals or whoever it is, they play 2 or 3 times, and I can't go, I can't watch a game every night.
Right, and then you also too have, you have the men's team. You have, say, if you have an NBA team, but you also have the women's team
Who are very good.
a very good team who are generating a lot more buzz and getting a lot more fan attention. And so I just think in that sense, the NBA will struggle getting the attendance there.
Yeah.
And, honestly, you will love it just for the city of Louisville, for the, notoriety of it. But as far as for the university, like I said, I'm always a homer, so I'm always going to say, I support the university, whatever. But I would rather have that attention go towards the women's teams and the women's sports and basketball because they're a very exciting team to watch also. And like you said, if the men are playing twice a week and the women are playing twice a week and the NBA is playing 3 times a week.
There's only so much time in my
Yeah.
Right. You can't just take off work and just watch everything.
Right.
So.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
Hey, I do want to ask you this, if you don't care, if we're okay on time.
Yeah, we're good.
I know, whether it be NIL and the transfer portal, do you like the new college basketball today versus, just 10 years ago, which, is not that long ago, but you're hearing a lot of these legendary coaches they're getting out of the game. I think we were all floored. Jay Wright just retired, whether he's retired or not, but they're getting out because I know it's different. It's almost now like you have to recruit a roster every year. Is that good, bad? What do you think?
I'm indifferent about it. I would tell you as a player, I like it just because it gives the player the freedom to kind of decide their future. You get paid.
Yeah.
You a chance to earn some money and chance to kind of take care of your family in an earlier sense, which a lot of kids have to do, especially a lot of scholarship kids.
Absolutely.
But I would say if I was looking at it as a coach, I would hate it in a sense because you're now treating these kids as a professional. With getting paid now, it's more so, all right, you're a professional, and I think a lot of these kids aren't mature enough to handle that.
To get there, yeah.
And as a coach, you had time to kind of develop these kids. You had time to let them understand your system. You had time to build players up. like I told you, we talked about it earlier when I tweeted out. I said if I was a freshman, I probably would have transferred. And that was, as a player, it was because it was tough, and I had a hard time not playing. I had a hard time, listening to other people like, oh, you should have played, you should have done this, and it was a tough adjustment for me. But with that being said, I grew so much learning under Coach Patino. I played 25 plus minutes a game my sophomore year. I was starting point guard, and I went through a lot of growing pains. And honestly, I probably wasn't ready as a freshman, which that's okay. And but I would have wanted to go somewhere else because I would have been like, all right, the grass is probably greener on that side.
Of course.
Hard to argue with the result, though, right?
Yeah. But for me, like, it's different because everybody, hindsight's 2020.
Of course.
And there's other players who, try to stick it out, and it didn't pan out that way.
Right.
And it was for us, that barrier was you had to sit out a year. So if I would have transferred, I had to sit out a year, and that would have. There was no chance I was, sitting out a year.
Yeah.
So I was just going to stick it through. But like I said, if I was looking back at it as a coach, I would hate it because now you're just.
Now every team is Calipari, what he does every, new group. Okay. New group.
Right.
Okay.
You can't really create a culture.
Yeah.
You can't, it takes a lot of time to, especially with the NCAA, they're limiting practice times now.
I've
So,
heard that.
It's tough to kind of, get your point across and get how you want to, play, your style of play, getting players to buy into the system, getting players who want to be there. They're not influenced by the money because a lot of times kids are getting paid up front. So now they're like, all right, well, I already got paid. What do I need to work for? Whereas when I was in college and players before me and players even after me before the NIL deal, it was like, all right, I have a goal in mind that I want to play as hard as I can to try to make it to the NBA or try to become a professional.
Yeah.
Whereas like now, a lot of kids kind of, take a seat to that, like, oh, I'm already getting paid. Like, I'm fine. I don't need to be a pro. Like, which is not a good way to look at it. Now, I'm not saying that's for everybody,
Correct.
But I'm saying for a lot of kids, it is that way. So I think it's tougher for the older generation of coaches because they've had a way.
And so used.
They're used to having, all right, look, I can recruit the players I want because they see my product is the way to go. They see it works. Like Coach Patino, he was known as a guy who developed talent. He wasn't a guy who was known for a lot of one and dones. He wasn't a guy who was known for recruiting all these 5-star players. He was a guy who was like, you know what? I see something in him. He had a good eye for scouting. I see something in him. I want to develop him, and I want to, get the best out of him. And that's what he's doing at Iona, which is why it works for him at a smaller school because he doesn't have to worry about the NIL. Guys are going to go play for Coach Patino because he's Coach Patino.
They want to get better.
Yeah.
And
that was what was so much fun about him. By the time guys are seniors, you've known these guys for 3-4 years. You've watched them develop, and you have so much more connection with these teams.
Yeah.
And that's more fun to me than, hey, we got this recruit. He's going to be awesome for this year.
Right.
That's it.
And I think that's why it's tough for, even like UK fans, like they were known as the one and done school. They don't really get to see those guys kind of develop over time. Like, yeah, it's great, and I'm not saying anything's wrong with them because they've been successful in what they have done.
Yeah.
They had even when I played against them, I know how successful they were because we kept losing to them until my senior year. But it's great because it's tough because you get attached to these players. Like for me, for example, I get attached to these guys who are down there now. Like I'm down there helping them out. I'm down there talking to them all the time. And to see them transfer is tough.
I get it.
Like, I got the chance to know them for a year and they're freshmen. And it's like, all right, I'm going to talk to them, build a relationship, and now they're gone. It's like, that kind of hurts because you build that relationship for them. Like, even for L, like me and L are really close, and I talk to L all the time, and we've bonded over, the struggles and the ups and downs and, everything. But now that he's, he has a choice to leave to go pro or whatever. If he does leave, it'll be tough because I'm not seeing him anymore. I treated him kind of like a teammate, as a little brother.
Absolutely.
So like as a fan, like it's funny because I tweet now that's like, oh no, I'm just a fan. I'm not part of it. As a fan now, I get to like you see these guys and you build these relationships and you invest so much of your time into them, and they just leave. It's like, no, I want more. I want more time to kind of like see the development.
And not that this will play out with L or not, but I will say, like with Oscar down in Lexington, you could argue, player of the year last year, probably a tweener. Not to say he won't get he'll probably get some time in the league, I think, but he might this year. I don't know any details, but he might have made more money through NIL this year than he could have made. That's a total game changer. It could, in theory, it may make the college game better and keep kids around.
But that's for the guys who are tweeners.
Correct.
Yeah. For your guys who are bona fide NBA players, they're going to leave. Yeah. Now the NIL is great for trying to keep guys who are a little bit older, keep them around for a little bit longer. Like I think his teammate from Gonzaga, like he could have easily try to go to the NBA and be a pro and left the university, but he made a lot of good money probably. And I don't know how much he made, but I'm sure he did at Gonzaga to come back.
Yeah.
But, for the other guys, it's like, no, they're like, you're just getting paid, and it kind of takes a back seat to like, I don't really want to play hard now.
Right.
Something like that. So you can kind of see it in a couple of teams, but also too, you can see it in the really good teams. They take it as now this is a chance to, have the money, but also get better.
Yeah, for sure. Well, Peyton, I want to thank you for coming in. This has been really fun.
Absolutely.
We wish you the best in everything you do around Louisville. Hope you're here for life.
I appreciate you guys.
Yeah,
for having
welcome
me.
home, Peyton. Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for listening. You can reach us at neal@talkabouttownky.com. Neal is a realtor with Judah Real Estate Group. Chad is a partner at Insura Max. You can reach him at chadh@insuramax.com. Check us out on the web at talkabouttownky.com. Go Cards!